glorious and beautiful beings of light and love. When I created sentient life, it was my intention that I would create the settings, systems, and laws in which and by which living beings could exist, and that they, in turn, would utilize the groundwork which I provided to develop and thrive, to learn and grow on their own. In the particular and unique case of the human species, the idea was to grant humanity free will, so as to allow you the opportunity to work through your shortcomings, discover your divine nature, cleanse yourselves of negative traits and tendencies, and ultimately reclaim your birthright to godhood. I decided to employ a hands-off policy, as it were, to permit you the privilege and freedom to find your own way and make your own world, a world in which you could prosper and of which you could be proud. Alas, things have not gone as elegantly as I had hoped. And so here we are. Humanity is in chaos. Your world is fouled by pollution. Your air and water are defiled with toxic chemicals and radiation and filth. Your world is raped of its resources. The forests that supply the very air you breathe are cavalierly burned and cut down. The animals with which you share this world are deprived of their natural habitats, rendering entire species extinct. Toxins and radiation pour into your oceans as though they were cesspools intended for the dumping of wastes. And then there is the killing. Modern human societies devote more time, effort, and resources to devising and employing tools of death and destruction than they do to any other activity or enterprise. You have elevated slaughter to an exact science and a high art. There are other things you do as well, other horrors perpetrated, other failings proudly brandished, other grief caused. I could go on, but, well, you see the problem. Am I angry? No. Am I disappointed? Very much so. Am I saddened? Heartbroken and devastated would be more accurate. I created you, and I created the reality in which you exist. It goes without saying that it was never my intention that you would end up in the lamentable state in which you currently find yourselves. But I did give you free will to make your own way through life. It was my intention, my hope, that you would utilize that free will to forge a path to a beautiful, wondrous, and joyful existence in the nurturing world that I provided. Alas, you have made choices that have caused you to stray off the intended path, to wander into a morass of fear and misery and despair. You are not evil, you are merely lost. But people who are lost eventually become frightened, and people who are frightened soon panic, and people who panic act irrationally. This is where the human race now stands. You are hopelessly lost, you are terrified, and you are acting irrationally. As your creator, I acknowledge that this unfortunate state of affairs is, to some degree, due to a lack of foresight on my part, and I therefore see it as my responsibility to help you find your way back onto the proper path. Other claims to the contrary notwithstanding, I am not an angry God, I am not a jealous God, and I am not a vengeful God. I am a loving God. I do not punish. I encourage, I assist, I guide, I heal. My desire is to help you to solve your problems, not add to them. In that spirit, I tell you now that the way out of the mess you are in is through love. But love is not some kind of spontaneous phenomenon that can be conjured through the drinking of a magic potion or the waving of a magic wand. Love, true selfless love, can only come about through a deep knowing and a deep understanding of who you are and what your relationship is to everything else in existence. Love is not an idea, nor is it an emotion. Love is a state of being. It is the very essence of what you should be at your core. Sadly, love has been usurped by ego in your world. An erroneous notion of separateness, coupled with a self-destructive obsession with the self, has taken root in your consciousness, and it has blinded you to the fundamental truth that all is one. When you regain an understanding of this fundamental truth, then you will once again be the beings of light and love that you were created to be. The means by which you may grasp this truth again, the path to remembering the truth you have forgotten, is through wisdom. I could attempt to impart this wisdom to you via preaching or lecturing, but I think we all can agree that preaching is arrogant and condescending, and lecturing is woefully boring. Thus, I think it best to offer my guidance by providing answers to the questions that are most frequently asked of me. Questions posed by souls just like you, either through prayer or during the between-life interludes which you spend in the spirit realm. I find it telling that the same relatively small handful of questions comes up repeatedly whenever you commune with me. Thus, I believe these questions are indicative of the answers you seek and of the wisdom which you crave. The wisdom I will impart to you in the answers that follow was actually known to humanity in the distant past. Indeed, there are some among you who still know it, but for many of you, it has somehow become lost and forgotten in the muck of culture, technology, and vanity in which you are now enslaved. It is critically important that you regain the precious wisdom you have lost. It is, in fact, a matter of life and death, a matter of the survival of humanity. Love and wisdom are the only things of value, the only things that truly matter, and it is love and wisdom that I hope to pass on to you now. I ask only that you give my words serious consideration, and that you think about them honestly and carefully. From experience comes learning. From learning comes knowledge. From knowledge comes understanding. From understanding comes insight. And from insight comes wisdom. And from wisdom comes love. And through love, you will find salvation. I love you all. I care for you all. I bless you all. For you are me, and I am you. There is only us. All is one. Ah, that. I assure you it was not an attempt at evasiveness, nor was it a display of hubris. There is actually a good reason why I answered that question as I did, and my reason has profound implications. The simple truth is that there is nothing I can be compared to, nothing I can be defined or described in terms of. The reason why comparisons between me and anything else fail is because I am the totality of all that is. I am the entirety of existence. Everything, matter, energy, space, time, the laws of nature, everything exists as a singular, harmonious, indistinguishable unity of being, an all-encompassing singularity, which is me. All things are manifestations that arise out of and exist within the infinite field of my being. I have created all that exists, and I am all that exists. I am not separate from my creation. Indeed, I am my creation, and my creation is me. Nothing is separate from anything else. Everything is one thing, and that everything, that one thing, is me. I am that I am.